Okay, we're here with Lieutenant Governor Kevin Bryant, who's running for governor. Mr. Bryant, tell us about your contract with South Carolina.
Well, our contract with South Carolina that we unveiled this weekend at the Tea Party Convention is simply returning government to the taxpayer. The first thing on our list is ethics reform. The integrity of South Carolina is not represented in Columbia. The second thing we have is making the DOT a cabinet agency. We're supposed to have three branches of government: the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. We have one branch of government in South Carolina, and that's the legislative branch. We're known as a legislative state. We have the weakest executive branch. We have way too much control of the judiciary by the legislature, and we've got to get back to the three distinct branches of government. DOT is a prime example. It doesn't work. It needs to be a cabinet agency so the people know who to hold accountable to fix our roads. This historic tax increase that was just imposed on South Carolinians isn't going to fix our roads if we don't reform the DOT.
Lieutenant Governor Bryant, what would you, if you were to take office next year this time, what would you like to see as one of the first or second initiatives you'd put in place immediately?
Well, I'm going to continue to promote the contract with South Carolina, which has all the issues. You can go to kevinbryant.com and read the other issues on it. We've got to restore integrity in Columbia. We've got to make the DOT a cabinet agency. We've got to defund Planned Parenthood. We've got to put consumer choice into energy, put consumer free market choice into education. Free market principles always does two things. It makes a better product at a lower cost. It works in every aspect of our society, and if we can put free market choice in education, free market choice in energy, we'll have a better product at a lower cost.
Lieutenant Governor, we've been following the Pasco issues and the statewide probe. Can you tell us your take on that?
Well, I mentioned we don't have three branches of government: executive, judicial, and legislative. We have a legislative state. We're nationally known as a legislative state, and that is a breeding ground for corruption. We don't have the checks and balances that we need. This ongoing political corruption investigation has been going on 5 years. The FBI's been in South Carolina for a year. We know there's a lot of smoke, and where there's smoke, there's fire. And it's unfortunate because the integrity of South Carolina is not reflected in Columbia, and we've got to restore integrity in Columbia and return the government back to the taxpayer.
From the looks of him, you think he never had a bad day. He's always so cheerful. So let's hear it for Lieutenant Governor Kevin Bryant. All right, Lieutenant Governor, South Carolina continually lags in the bottom 10 in median household income. So what's your plan to lift us off the bottom?
Well, the best thing that government can do is for our economy is leave more money in the pockets of consumers. I support the fair tax. The income tax punishes success. The property tax punishes you because you take care of your home and your value goes up and your property tax goes up. Fair tax is the best way because you know who's in charge of the fair tax? You are. You decide when to spend your money, and you decide when you're going to pay taxes. And then anytime a tax collector or a politician comes to you, oh, we can't cut taxes, how are we going to pay for it? I say we pay for it with freedom. We pay for it with freedom, giving you the freedom to keep more money in your pocket. You can spend money much better than government can. And politicians have got to get out of the habit of taking money out of your pocket and deciding for you how that needs to be spent.
Utilities have been a big source of conversation in South Carolina, and we're one of the 21 states which don't have any form of consumer choice for utilities. So where do you stand on that issue?
I will tell you, and you'll hear this answer on just about every question I get. Anytime we can put in free market consumer choice in any industry, free market consumer choice does two things. It always gets you a better product and always gets you a lower cost. We have choices in our cell phone providers. We have choices in our internet providers. We have choices in our telephone providers. We don't have choices in our gas and electricity. Pennsylvanians have 37 choices with their gas and electricity. If we had consumer choice in South Carolina, we wouldn't be going through this Santee Cooper debacle that we're going through now, because we've learned what government intervention does. It is always a disaster. Free market principles always work as the best regulator.
In the low country, we've got a lot of production workers at Boeing and Volvo who we have to bring in from out of state because we're not producing qualified assembly line workers. And the Education and Economic Development Act of 2005 mandated career counseling for high school students, as well as internships and apprenticeships. But in Charleston County, with at least 15,000 high school students, we only had 25 apprenticeships this year. What can we do to improve our career counseling and job training?
Let me go back to my other answer. We need free market consumer choices in education. We need school choice. We have a little bit with exceptional needs, and it's working very well. But we need to have school choice because parents know the needs of their children better than bureaucrats, better than educators. And this notion that all these programs, and they all sound good, but Columbia has got to get out of the habit of micromanaging the classroom. And people say, well, what about accountability? I think we need to free up the public school teacher. We see programs coming out of Columbia all the time that tell teachers what to do and what they can't do. And we need to deregulate education from the state level. And here again, we need to have school choice for every child in South Carolina.
In 2006, the voters of South Carolina approved what we now know as Act 388, which shifted the cost of school operations expenses from owner-occupied homeowners to commercial property owners, which has increased the rent costs for businesses and families. What can we do to fix 388?
Well, Act 388 was half a loaf. It was good for the homeowner because it took the school operating expenses off of your primary resident. But the small businesses and manufacturers and folks that own the second home are getting hammered by local government. So I remember the debate. We came very, very close to removing the school operating expense on all classes of property, and I wish we had done it then. I did vote for the bill. I was in the legislature because the homeowner needed the relief. But unfortunately, local governments are just hammering our secondary homes, small businesses, and manufacturing industry.
And every year the rate goes up.
Always go up. We thought we had some caps. Well, the cap is really the floor. They get up as high as they can every single time they get caps.
We're all optimistic that Republicans will win in a landslide in 2018, and we will finally repeal and replace Obamacare, which means we'll have to restructure Medicaid in South Carolina. What are your plans for restructuring Medicaid?
Well, that's one issue. That's a distinction that I bring to this debate because I am a healthcare provider. John, before your crowd, you have a politician and a drug dealer. I'm a registered pharmacist. But Medicaid spending is over a third of our budget. It used to be about 15% when I came in the General Assembly. One of the things I would like to offer is a sliding scale coverage. Medicaid pays for literally everything, no matter what the cost of the prescription. The highest copay I've ever seen is $3.40. I've seen folks decline a pay raise because they don't want to cross that income threshold and lose all the coverage that pays for everything. So we can have a sliding scale. So as the ultimate goal is to get folks getting a high-paying job and paying for their own health care. But if we have a sliding scale, as people's incomes grow, we increase their deductible, we increase their out-of-pocket expenses, and eventually get folks off Medicaid because we've got to rein in the Medicaid spending, and it's growing at an unsustainable rate.
Okay, our South Carolina Department of Transportation maintains an inventory of over 40,000 road miles, the fourth highest in America. And we had a recent snowstorm in Charleston, and the SCDOT plows didn't show up until after the snow melted. What can we do to make SCDOT more accountable to the people?
Nick, I'm going to have to get off on this. This is a big, big, critical issue for South Carolina. Not just the DOT, but several agencies. You know, our founders, they created 3 branches of government: the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch. South Carolina, you have 1 branch of government. You have the legislative branch. We are known as the legislative state, which is a breeding ground for corruption. And this legislative state controls the DOT. This historical highest tax increase in the history of South Carolina, folks, I'm going to tell you, it's not going to fix your roads because you don't know who to hold accountable. I asked this question the other day: how many people have seen a football team successfully use 2 starting quarterbacks? It rarely works. It worked for Alabama against my alma mater, but it rarely works. The DOT is like a football team with 3 head coaches and 9 starting quarterbacks. If you want to see your roads fixed, you got to know who to hold accountable. The only way to do that is make the DOT a cabinet agency under the Office of Governor. So these decisions are made based on public safety and traffic flow. How many folks have traveled the road from Florence to Pamplico? $350 million. It's a great road. You pay for it. Go check it out. But next time you run into a pothole, think about that $350 million from Florence to Pamplico, which is rarely traveled, because the legislature, the power right now, is in Florence. Well, we've taken this message to Florence. They get the fact that it's their turn now, but they understand it's not going to last forever. You shouldn't have to wait for your legislators to be in a position of power for your part of the state to get your fair share. Put the DOT at cabinet agency. You know who to hold accountable.
Notice I hadn't asked you whether North Carolina or Clemson. We're all excited about the Trump tax cuts, and I'm sure you are too. In the past, when federal taxes go down, the state has a windfall. Are you anticipating that for South Carolina?
Well, anytime you cut taxes, you increase their economy. Several $100 billion we just saw where Apple is repatriating from China, bringing those jobs over. Apple was no bastion of conservatism, but hey, they appreciate the tax cut. That's what happens when you cut taxes. The economy grows. And I appreciate the fact that the president had a big victory with the tax cut, and I believe the same thing could happen for South Carolina if we go to a fair tax.
Okay, South Carolina is the only state that maintains the statewide school bus fleet. And in your own county, Anderson County, we've had a school bus catch fire. What can we do to better maintain our bus fleet?
Well, in a perfect world, South Carolina would not have a bus fleet. And we need to either privatize or let the districts control our buses. But the children who are riding the bus now, we can't risk their safety on this policy decision. We've got to take care of the buses. And the recent veto of the money going to fix our buses was a tremendous mistake. And I appreciate the legislature overriding that veto. Because we can't do that to our children. We can't put them in danger. Now, long term, the state shouldn't have the bus fleet. Either that's probably the worst way to handle school buses. Either go to the district level or go to privatization, or let the districts decide whether they want to handle it or whether they provide. Local control always works better than, here again, micromanaging education. Got to get out of that.
Well, let's hear it for Lieutenant Governor Bryant.
Thank you so much.